Have you ever stopped to think about the invisible force that's, well, running pretty much everything? It's not magic, it's not just electricity, it's software. From the smartphone in your hand to the massive systems that track cargo ships across the ocean, software is basically the set of instructions telling all our gadgets what to do. And in today's world, it's the absolute engine driving business. Okay, let's get into it. Almost every growing business hits a point, a wall really, where the very success they've been chasing starts to create total chaos. The old ways of doing things, the spreadsheets and sticky notes, they just can't keep up anymore. So what do you do when your own growth starts to feel like you're losing control? Well, you turn to software.
To really see how this works, let's look at a real-world example. Meet Andrew Langston. He started a delivery company called QuickBiz Messengers. They began small, knew their city like the back of their hand, and they got really, really good at what they did.
And of course, that's where the trouble started. Business was booming, but with over 90 employees, a lot of them part-time, QuickBiz was basically drowning in its own success. New messengers were getting lost, customers started complaining about delays, and trying to manually create a schedule for everyone, it was an absolute logistical nightmare. The very efficiency that made them great was just slipping away. So how did they fix this mess? Well, they started by finding the right tool for the job. And this brings us to our first big idea, application software. These are the programs we all use every single day to get specific things done.
So let's tackle that first problem, the lost messengers. Think about it. For a new delivery person who doesn't know every single side street, one wrong turn isn't just a simple mistake. It's a late package and boom, a customer complaint. For a delivery company, that's a huge deal.
So Andrew turned to a specialized tool, routing software. And this wasn't just some glorified digital map. No, this was like a central brain for his whole operation. It would analyze all the day's deliveries, find the absolute fastest routes, group them into smart little territories, and then beam all that real-time GPS info straight to his messengers' phones. The change was immediate. They saved time, they saved fuel, and most importantly, they saved a ton of money.
All right, now for that second massive headache, the people problem. Just try to imagine scheduling 90 people, many of them students, whose availability changes week to week. One person calls in sick, and suddenly you're in a mad scramble, making call after call, trying to find a replacement. It was a massive waste of time.
And again, a specific application turned all that chaos into pure order. With their new scheduling software, managers just had to plug in everyone's available hours. The software did all the heavy lifting, spitting out a perfectly balanced schedule in seconds. What used to be a full-blown crisis, a last-minute change, now just took a few clicks to solve. So here's the key takeaway. Both of those tools, the routing program and the scheduling program, are perfect examples of application software. These are the programs designed to help you, the user, complete a very specific task. Think about a word processor for writing or a spreadsheet for budgeting. They're the tools that get the job done. But here's the thing. Applications don't just float around in thin air. There's an entire other layer of software running underneath, totally behind the scenes. So let's peel back that layer and take a look at the foundation itself, system software. It's a really good question, right? You've got your routing app, your word processor, your web browser, all running on the very same machine at the same time. How does the computer juggle all of that without just completely crashing? This comparison really makes it all click. If application software represents the tools you use, like a hammer or a screwdriver, then system software is the workbench that everything sits on. It's the foundation that lets all those tools actually function. And the most important piece of system software? That's the one we all know, the operating system, or the OS. Oh, I love this analogy. The OS is the traffic cop of your computer. It's standing in the middle of a busy intersection, directing everything. It tells programs when they're allowed to use the processor. It hands out memory, it sees when you click your mouse or type on your keyboard, and it makes sure images get to your screen. Honestly, without the OS, all those applications would just be useless code. And the way we even build this stuff has totally changed over time. Way back in the beginning, programmers literally had to speak the computer's native language, just endless strings of ones and zeros. But as you can see, over the decades, we've developed programming languages that look more and more like plain English. And that evolution is so important because making software easier to write is what unleashed the creativity that put an app for literally everything right in our pockets. Okay, so if you're a business like QuickBiz, you know you need software. But how do you actually get it? What are your options?
Well, that decision brings us to a few different ways that businesses can acquire software. So, you've basically got two main paths you can go down. On one hand, you have proprietary software, like Microsoft Office. A company builds it to sell for a profit. You buy a license to use it, but the actual code, the source code, is a company's secret. Then you have open source software, like the Linux operating system or the Firefox browser. Here, the source code is totally free and available for anyone to see, use, and even modify. It's built by this huge global community of programmers, all collaborating to make it better, often for free.
Of course, there's also a third path, the illegal one, software piracy. And this isn't some small-time problem. It is a massive drain on the global economy.
To really get a sense of the scale this can reach, just look at the snapshot from 2005. Now, this was before the modern era of app stores and subscriptions, but a study found that in a market like Vietnam, a staggering 90% of the software on PCs was pirated. 90%. While things have definitely changed since then, it just goes to show you how huge this problem can get.
And the global impact was just as mind-blowing. In that same year, 2005, piracy was estimated to have cost the software industry $34 billion. That's billion with a B. It was this massive economic drag, all fueled by illegal copying. So why should any of this matter to you? I mean, whether you're running a company or just building your own career, it all comes down to becoming software savvy. This quote right here really nails it. Software isn't just for the tech geeks anymore. In pretty much any profession you can think of, it's a fundamental tool for being productive. Understanding the landscape just lets you make smarter choices. So next time you're trying to pick a new piece of software, here's a quick mental checklist. First and foremost, does it actually solve your problem? Is it easy enough to use that your team will actually want to use it? And, this is a big one, will it work with the other systems you already have? And don't just look at the upfront price. Think about the total cost, training, maintenance, upgrades. Getting these things right is the secret to finding that perfect tool.
And let's end with a little peek into the future. Right now, scientists are developing something they call Claytronics. Picture this. Millions of tiny, programmable little robots that can link together to form any object you can imagine. A laptop that could literally morph into a phone. A physical copy of you that could attend a meeting across the globe. It all leads to this wild question. Today, we program software. But are we heading towards a future where software programs our physical reality? Something to think about.